fact, it's since I am a teenager that I am interested in the Vietnam military history because I watched American films. And this is how I started to discover the history and the Vietnam War. And so I watched a lot of American movies. And of course, it was always the American viewpoint. And when I came to Vietnam and when I had the opportunity to work on a Vietnamese film, and that film will depict the Vietnamese viewpoint. So I was interested in, because as foreigners, we don't know much the Vietnamese viewpoint on the Vietnam War.
Tại sao Việt Nam trận đầu lại đánh thắng ngay được? Chính là ở cái cách đánh của Việt Nam.
What is interesting with this first battle is I could search and put all the early years for the creation of that new Air Force. So because at that time the Vietnam People's Air Force was very young. And they have to work hard to build the Air Force, to train the pilots, to send them to China and then to Soviet Union. And they had just 30 MiGs. And they had just 30 MiGs when the Americans have a lot of aircraft. And of course their pilots were more experienced. So immediately I saw, I like to have some references, and it was David versus Goliath. And of course, in that story, we're more interested in David, the weak, how the weak will find a way to win the strongest. And this is exactly what happened with the battles in April '65. After another reason is the objective was to make a film that was fair, that was honest, and have a good balance. Even it was the Vietnamese viewpoint. We will talk about the other side, so the American Air Force, and always try to be balanced, to be fair. Vietnam War is one of the most famous or infamous war, and it's an interesting subject. I think you can do film forever about the Vietnam War. When I read the books on the Vietnamese side, on the American side, and then when I met the veteran, that was a great privilege for me. That personally, to meet the heroes of the nation, to meet those people, it was great. And they are very accessible. They are the true heroes. You know, a hero is someone very simple. The honesty, the human part. There were two things that were very important and became more and more important because there was a moment we were afraid that we would be totally absorbed by the technical, the animation, the special effects, and that was something I saw in other movies and I didn't like it. It was too. It was very impressive, but I didn't have any emotion. I didn't feel anything. The human part was totally absent. It was just about technique. And in this film, there's a lot of technical information, but I think we can still digest them and still appreciate also the other part, which is more humane, more emotional and honest. I learned a lot about, not just about history, but about Vietnamese culture. So, sau khi xem phim ở Đà Nẵng, có một chàng trai trẻ hỏi tôi vì sao phi công là khi súng bị bắn rối, vì sao nghĩ về người yếu. Tôi ngạc nhiên, không hiểu. Vì vậy tôi khi gần chết không nghĩ người yêu, nghĩ mẹ. Văn hóa Việt Nam nghĩ mẹ, không nghĩ người. Mẹ là rất quan trọng. I like the message of the old generation, because this film is also a kind of message for the young generation.
Some picture here about a platoon of old military in Thanh Hóa province shot down two American planes in 1967, and the Vietnamese today, especially the young, feel very surprised because old people in Vietnamese wars can shot down the big hero planes in the war. When we fight against French colonialists and American imperialists, they think that they cannot do the things that the old men did.
So do you have many visits of the young Vietnamese people at the museum?
Yes, very little.
Very little. So what is your feeling about that? That there are not so many, a few young visitors.
History is very difficult to learn and to search, so I feel sad a little.
And you're interested in history?
Yes.
So what is it, why you're so interested in history?
I learned about the strategic, the cross of the wars.
Because you said that the young generation focuses more on the future and the technology.
Yes.
But don't you think that the past makes the future?
At present, they only care about the future.
I'm a foreigner, yes, I have a distance. To me, this subject is extremely interesting. I would not be interested in the French military history, you know, maybe not like that, you see. It's because it's something different, it belongs to another culture. That is very attractive, and I can see something, but me, I cannot explain it, why. This time I would like not just to focus on the war, that means on the past, but also on the present. That means 50 years after. Today the veterans from Vietnam and from the US meet each other and the feeling is different because now they become friends. So this process of reunion and reconciliation, I think, is remarkable, and I want to know more about this. And I think it's important to talk about the past, but it's also probably more important to talk about the present and the peace and the friendship between the two countries. This time also, I would like to have the double viewpoint, not just the American viewpoint or the Vietnamese viewpoint, but the two viewpoints on the same battles.